Let's take up environmental chemistry. Environmental chemistry is chemistry which deals with environment, air, water, soil, etc. First, we are taking environmental pollution. Environmental pollution is the undesirable changes in our surroundings that have harmful effects on living organisms like plants, animals, and human beings. A substance which causes pollution is called pollutant. For example, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, hydrocarbon, dust particle, particulate matters, they are examples of pollutants. Pollutants can be solid, liquid, or gaseous substance present in air in greater concentration than in the natural abundance and are produced by human activities or due to natural happenings. For example, dust particles are solid, water vapors are there in the air which are liquid, and gaseous substance we have CO2, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, etc. Do you know an average human being requires 10 to 12 times more air than food? That is, it is essential for our life. Pollutants, some of the pollutants are biodegradable, that is, like discarded vegetables, which rapidly break down by natural process, so they do not remain in atmosphere for a long time. Whereas there are some pollutants which are non-biodegradable or they remain in an environment unchanged for many decades. For example, DDT, which is widely used as insecticide, plastic materials, heavy metals, and many chemicals, nuclear waste. Once they are released into environment, they are not easily removed because they are non-biodegradable. That is, they do not change into harmless substances. So these are non-biodegradable pollutants which should be banned or should be used to very less extent. These pollutants cannot be degraded by natural process and are harmful to living organisms. In the process of environmental pollution, pollutants originate from the source and get transported by air or water or dumped into the soil by human beings. This is the cause of pollution of air, water, and soil. First, we are concentrating on atmospheric pollution. The atmosphere that surrounds the earth is not of the same thickness at all heights. The lowest region of atmosphere where human beings along with other organisms live is called troposphere. It extends up to 10 kilometers from the sea level. Above troposphere, between 10 to 50 kilometers above sea level lies stratosphere. Troposphere is turbulent, dusty zone containing air, much water vapor and clouds. It keeps on changing with climate or atmosphere, keeps on changing. The lower atmosphere keeps on changing. This is the region of strong air movement and cloud formation. The stratosphere, on the other hand, contains nitrogen, oxygen, ozone, and little of water vapors. Atmospheric pollution is generally studied as tropospheric and stratospheric pollution. The presence of ozone in the stratosphere, which is formed by action of ultraviolet region on the oxygen, it prevents ultraviolet radiations reaching Earth and protects human beings and animals from its harmful effect like skin cancer. Troposphere is the range from 0 to 10 kilometers. Its temperature range is 15 degrees centigrade to minus 56 degrees centigrade. Nitrogen, oxygen, CO2 and water vapors are present in this troposphere. Stratosphere or ozonosphere, it extends from 10 to 50 kilometers. Temperature range is minus 56 to minus 2 degrees centigrade. Nitrogen, oxygen, ozone and oxygen atoms are also present in this stratosphere. It's mainly ozone, therefore it's called ozonosphere. Mesosphere extends from 50 to 85 kilometers. Temperature range from minus 2 degrees centigrade to minus 92 degrees centigrade. It contains nitrogen, oxygen positive ion and NO positive ion. Thermosphere is 85 to 500 kilometers. Minus 92 degrees centigrade to 1200 degrees centigrade is temperature range. This temperature rises because of proximity with the sun. O2 positive, O positive, NO positive ions are present in thermospheres because high energy is available for ionization of these gases. Hydrosphere contains water bodies, sea, oceans, river, lakes, etc., which covers 3/4 or 75% of Earth's surface. Lithosphere is solid part containing soil, rocks, mountains, etc. That is called lithosphere, and metal ores are found in lithospheres. Biosphere, the part where living organisms interact with lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere, is called biosphere. Abiotic components are non-living. Lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere are non-living components. Biotic components are living. Plants, animals, and human beings form biotic components. Medium, for example, soil or organisms, are affected by pollutant or contaminate is called receptor, or a sink is the chemical medium or species that retains and interacts with the pollutant. Types of pollutants. First, we are taking primary pollutants. Those which remain as it is, like nitrogen monoxide, sulfur dioxide, NO2, carbon monoxide, and hydrocarbons, they remain as it is and they are called primary pollutants. Secondary pollutants are formed from the primary pollutants and generally by reaction of photochemical, that is sunlight and atmospheric substances. For example, hydrocarbons and oxides of nitrogen react together photochemically, that is in presence of sunlight, and result in the formation of very toxic compounds called peroxyacetyl nitrates, formaldehyde and acrolein. So secondary pollutants are more harmful than primary pollutants. Degradable pollutants, those pollutants which degrades automatically or by heating or through action of microorganisms are called biodegradable. For example, sewage is biodegradable pollutant. Non-degradable pollutant, they do not get degraded or broken down into harmless material. Example is DDT and plastics. So their use should be reduced as much as possible. Next we have tropospheric pollution. Tropospheric pollution occurs due to presence of undesirable solid or gaseous particles in the air. The following are the major gaseous and particulate pollutants present in troposphere, which will take up each in detail, their sources and their effects. Gaseous air pollutants, the oxides of sulfur, nitrogen and carbon, small amount of hydrogen sulfide, hydrocarbon, ozone and other oxidants are gaseous air pollutants. Particulate pollutants include dust, mist, fumes, smoke, smog, etc. First, we are taking gaseous air pollutants. Among gaseous air pollutants, first we take oxides of sulfur. They are formed by burning of fossil fuels. Now, sulfur dioxide cannot change to sulfur dioxide itself. This reaction is very slow, but in the presence of catalyst, this reaction becomes fast. And it also becomes fast when SO2 reacts with ozone. It changes to sulfur trioxide plus oxygen is formed. Sulfur dioxide can also be oxidized by hydrogen peroxide to form sulfuric acid, and they are all very harmful to the human beings as well as animals and plants. The effects of oxides of sulfur, they mostly cause respiratory diseases like asthma, bronchitis, emphysema in human beings, irritation to eyes resulting in tears and redness are the major causes of oxides of sulfur. Even oxide of sulfur are cause of acid rain because they are acidic oxides. Next we are taking oxides of nitrogen. They are formed by incomplete combustion of fuels in petrochemicals. For example, atmosphere, nitrogen monoxide is formed by lightning at higher altitudes, which changes to nitrogen dioxide by by getting oxidized with atmospheric oxygen, which gets oxidized to nitrate ion and which is washed into soil and serves as a fertilizer. In automobile engines where fossil fuels are burned, dinitrogen and dioxygen can combine to form nitrogen monoxide, which is unstable. It is formed only at high temperature, but it readily changes into nitrogen dioxide, which is brown in color and responsible for brown haze. And ozone can convert easily nitrogen monoxide to nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. Effects of oxides of nitrogen, The irritant red haze in traffic and congested place is due to oxides of nitrogen, especially the nitrogen dioxide, which is brown in color. They damage the leaves of the plants and retard the rate of photosynthesis. Nitrogen dioxide is also a lung irritant and can lead to acute respiratory disease in the children. It is toxic to living organisms or living tissues also. Nitrogen dioxide is harmful to various textile fibers and metals. This also causes acid rain, which damages plants, crops, and buildings. Next, we are taking hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are made up of carbon and hydrogen, and they are formed by incomplete combustion of automobiles. For example, these days in Delhi, benzene content is increasing, which is extremely harmful for children and elderly people. Hydrocarbons are carcinogenic, that is, they are cancer causing. They harm plants by causing aging, breakdown of the tissues, and shedding of the leaves, flowers, and twigs. Next, we are taking oxides of carbon. First, we take carbon monoxide. It is the most serious pollutant. It is formed by incomplete combustion of fossil fuels and automobile fuel. And other sources which produce carbon monoxide are incomplete combustion of coal, firewood, and petrol. It's more serious pollutant, although it is colorless and odorless, but highly poisonous to the living beings. Reason is carbon monoxide combines with hemoglobin to form carboxyhemoglobin, which is highly stable, 300 times more stable than oxyhemoglobin, and it does not act as oxygen carrier and creates oxygen deficiency, which results into headache, weak eyesight, nervous, and cardiovascular disorders. Carbon dioxide is released into atmosphere by burning of fossil fuels and also in respiration. It's obtained by decomposition of limestone, which is essential raw material for manufacture of cement. It's also emitted during volcanic eruptions. Carbon dioxide is confined mainly to troposphere. Its normal concentration is 0.03% by volume in the atmosphere, and excess of CO2 is removed by green plants during photosynthesis, but deforestation and burning of fossil fuel increases the CO2 level and disturbs the balance of the atmosphere. Mainly it causes global warming because it entraps infrared radiations from the atmosphere and increases the temperature of the earth. CFC chlorofluorocarbons are used as refrigerant in our freezer, fridge, and air conditioners, in aerosol sprays, and in plastic industry. Freons are highly stable and they last for over 80 years. They are inflammable and inert in lower atmosphere. They react with ozone and result in depletion of ozone layer. Therefore, in advanced countries, CFC have been banned, and in India also its use should be very less, so that it does not deplete ozone layer. Otherwise, ultraviolet light will reach the atmosphere. Next is particulates. Volcanic eruptions, fly ash from the thermal power plants, smelting and mining operations, smoke from incomplete combustion of fuel, dust from crushers, grinders are the source of particulate matters. Inhalation of metallic properties lead to respiratory disorders like asthma, bronchitis, lung cancer, etc.